Hey, my friends, what's good? Derek here from Bomb Socks with more Bomb Bites, where we feast upon the words of Christ. And as always, we do it one bite at a time. So we get the awesome opportunity of getting into sections 10 and 11 of the Doctrine and Covenants this week. And we've got some great videos from our Bomb Bites collection to help you enjoy this section even more. And if you haven't already, you got to go check out our amazingly comfortable gospel-themed socks at bombsocks.com. Godspeed, my friends, and enjoy the episode. So reminding you this week that the context of section 10 is all about Joseph getting the ability to translate back. And they were trying to figure out what to do with those 116 manuscript pages. Martin Harris, although he was forgiven, was not able to translate again. Oliver Cowdery was now there, and they both had the question, what do we do with these 116 pages? Do we retranslate? And as I mentioned yesterday, the Lord said, nah, wicked men are going to do some crazy things with this. In fact, in section 10, like I said, what the Lord does is he exposes Satan. He really does. He shows him who he really is. So I do want to show you today what I like to call the top terrible, tricky tactics of the tempter. Do you like that alliteration? That took me a while to come up with that. So anyway, what I want to show you, these verses right here. So you go to section 10 of the Doctrine and Covenants. You look at verses 6 and 7. You go to 20 through 33. That's a decent chunk. And then you go to verse 63. So what I'd like you to do is to study these verses out. And I want you to look for the top terrible, tricky tactics of the tempter and see really what the Lord is trying to show Joseph about the adversary and what he's trying to show us as well. So look for those. You can do it as an individual. You can do it as a family. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to share with you one little pattern that I noticed. So study and we'll come back and we'll see what you got. Okay, so one of the things that I noticed a pattern. Again, it's important when you're studying the scriptures to look for patterns. When you see repeated words over and over again, as you're studying those verses, you're going to see those. I noticed two versions of it. The word is stir, S-T-I-R. I saw stir and I saw stirreth, which is interesting. When you think about stirring, what you're doing is you're taking something and you are trying to agitate it a little bit, whether it's your cocoa in the morning or whether it's just stirring something. It's a protein shake, whatever it is. You're stirring it up to try to get things going. And so it talks about, like, for example, verse 32, it says, behold, they will publish this and Satan will harden the hearts of the people to stir them up to anger against you, that they will not believe my words. Another one, you look at verse 24, it says, yea, he stirreth up their hearts to anger against this work. You know, what's interesting about Satan is he hasn't changed over the years. He is still the same from the very beginning, whether it's, with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, or whether it's back here in section 10 of church history. We observe how he does things then. He's doing them today as well. He's stirring up people to anger. He's trying to agitate. It's what he does. You look back at the year 2020, I think he really saw all of this excitement, whether it's the pandemic or whether it's an election or whatever it is, and he stirred a lot of people up to anger, not only against one another with contention, but to this work as well. That is one of the big things he does. He stirs people. And it starts off with us. I think we've got to start by putting the stuff into the cup, and then he just starts stirring it up a little bit though. So I saw an interesting word in scripture that almost seems like it is the opposite of stir. I actually talked about this in a previous episode a long time ago in the war chapters of the Doctrine and Covenants. And the word actually in the scriptures, and it's called bestir. It's an interesting word. It's a word that we don't use very often. So the word bestir means to make a physical or mental effort to exert or arouse oneself. It's almost like we need to stop the stirring that is currently taking place. Here's Satan with his crazy, his crazy satanic swizzle stick, if you will, and he's stirring stuff up. And so what we have to do is just grab onto it and stop it and just bestir ourselves. We exert that effort to stop it. In fact, the word bestir is used twice in scriptures. It is used in those war chapters where Captain Moroni, as he's writing to Pehoran, which that was a crazy story there, he says, bestir yourselves. There's another kind of crazy one. If you go to the Old Testament, this is actually in 2 Samuel chapter 5, it's verse 24. It's about David as he is going against the Philistines. It's right around that time it's just right after he's defeated Goliath. So you go to verse 24 and it says, and let it be when thou hearest the sound of a going in the tops of the mulberry trees,
that then thou shalt bestir thyself, for then shall the Lord go out before thee to smite the host of the Philistines. So he's saying, look, you got to do some stuff. When you hear some things, you've got to bestir yourself rather than allowing the adversary to stir you up. And so I think that's an interesting thing, and it's an interesting defense that we have against those terrible, tricky tactics of the tempter. So that's just one example for you. Tomorrow, I want to show you not just the power of Satan, I want to show you the power of God and how he, like we said in the previous episode, his wisdom is greater than the cunning of the devil. So we're going to see that tomorrow.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and thanks for sharing these messages. As always, we are so grateful that you do that. And if you like what you see, please click the like button. It gets that message out there. And of course, like I said, check out our socks, bombsocks.com. Godspeed, friends. We'll see you. Take care. Bye-bye.